What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ray coming at you live and direct from not going to tell you exactly where, but I have to go to work soon. So, today is the day of game 5 of the Nuggets Timberwolves series. So, this is before then. Depending on what happens, I may have more video out for you maybe later tonight or tomorrow, but I'm going to be at work during the game. So, I only have one take for this, and I apologize if there's any audio issues, if it's not totally clear. This is the best I can do. I don't have a ton of time and resources to edit, do all that stuff. If you want to help me get those resources, throw me a like, throw me a subscription. I really appreciate it. Or just comment, maybe you have thoughts differing from mine. So, but yeah, just to digress a little bit. I'm gonna start where I started the last video I did like this, and that is we lost that trade. We lost that trade with Michael Porter. And I'm not saying that, I think a lot of people take any defense of Michael Porter as well. We should have him on the team. Yes, there is a lot that Michael Porter does that Cam Johnson doesn't do. A lot of it's on the boards. A lot of it is even when Michael Porter is not on, quote unquote, he's still creating space on the floor. He's a big reason that the two-man game continued to thrive, and I think we're seeing that right now. Is as much as Cam Johnson is a similarly efficient shooter, and maybe is a little bit better at finding open looks just because of his movement and stuff like that. He knows where to be. All that stuff is good. He's not as tall as Mike. Keep it a buck. He doesn't have the same reasons that Cam Johnson is someone who thinks the game and is in the right places at the right times a little bit more, are the same reasons that he tends to overthink the shots. And sometimes when you talk about this sport at the highest level, it's not about thinking, it's about shooting. There's nothing to think about, in certain moments. And it also ends up relating to how he approaches the game, where even when he is shooting well, he's not shooting with the volume that's going to bend defenses because he's taking what he can get, right? He's not stressing he's punishing the defense when they overcommit to Jokic and Murray, but he's not stressing defenses in such a way where they're deciding, we can't. We can't press Jokic. We can't press Murray right now because we got Cam Johnson on the court. Everything I just said, not even double it. 10 times, order of magnitude more for Christian Braun. We all like Christian. I think he's a good guy. But again, it's another situation where some of the things that we like about this player are the same reasons that he's continuing to struggle right now. He is just not, he's too nice. That's my personal opinion, is that he's the type of guy who knows how not to foul, but in that same way, he's not physical enough defensively, and I think it's really holding him back because he is, I think, a player who's going to thrive on strength, not athleticism. As much as he has that 40-inch vertical, that's his combine number, I've never seen that, honestly. In game, he looks like he has like a 27-32 range inch vertical. And if for all my 2K heads, he got the rim grazer dunk package. It's not, you're not going to see immense on-ball creation, the lateral quickness to get to his spots, to get by his man, to change directions, to change speeds. That's not what happens. Even when Christian is going hard at the rim, you can see it a mile away because he needs that runway to create that verticality. And he's not shooting. Not only he's shooting better percentage wise than he ever has this year in the playoffs in terms of playoff shooting from deep. However, he's just not shooting with the volume similar to Cam, where it's going to matter in the context of creating space for Jokic and for Murray. So then you get to, I mean, it hurts my heart to say this, but Aaron is aging out of the league. That's what's happening. The same window of time of their careers, if you think back to when Paul Millsap was here and we paid him $90 million, that's where Aaron is, except for the fact that I think Aaron has even a little bit more tread burned off just after a long career of a lot of minutes and high intensity play and that sort of thing. So while his shooting has definitely improved, the physicality, even though I think he has the mentality and the emotional fortitude to be assertive, to be physical, to have an impact on the game in that way, his body is just not going to enable him to do that, and that's what happens in your 30s. Sadly, we're not all going to be LeBron James playing at 41, 42 years old. So on some level, it's not necessarily his fault, but when you're moving off of guys thinking that you didn't need a Michael Porter because you had an Aaron Gordon. Well, Aaron Gordon isn't the Aaron Gordon that you thought he was. Aaron Gordon right now isn't the Aaron Gordon of 2023, unfortunately. The financial implications, that's going to be another video. $30 million, $30 plus million the next 3 years. It's going to be hard to do that, hard to have that dollar amount on the books when you're talking about a guy who plays 30 games a year and can't be healthy for the playoffs. And this is multiple years in a row now. It's not going to get better. You might luck out in the future and he be healthy at the right time in the playoffs in the future, but do I believe that he's ever going to be, can I trust that? Do I think it's worth $30 plus million of investment to say that he will be? The answer is no. And I get that, like, okay, well, Michael Porter was hurt and that was bad too. Think about this. Something about youth, something about a little bit of energy. You're a little bit more resilient to those injuries. Even when you are hurt, you can do a little bit more. Michael Porter, he averaged like 11 and I want to say 6 or 7 rebounds a game last year on a bum with one arm and an assist. Cam's putting up like 10, 11 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. One rebound per game. That's not going to cut it. Denver is full of guys. It's a team full of guys who have there's been so much focus on experience and knowing where to be. This guy knows where to be. This guy knows how to move. He knows how to play. He has veteran savvy, this, that, and the third, that they've neglected the notion of physicality from both a physical perspective and an emotional perspective in the surrounding cast of the roster. And where that really, and we're working our way up the list right now, where that really comes to a head is all those 3 things are true with Cam, with Christian, with Aaron, Jamal, and Jokic. The reality is Jamal's never been that athletic of a player where he's going to be scary for other teams. He can put in a little bit more effort, and I think he has this year. He's trying really hard. It just, at the same time, you have the physical tools that you have. He's going to be a finesse player. That's how he's made his bones the entire time he's been in the league. And while in the past, we've been able to say, well, Jokic can just push through it. Again, this is what age does to you. You can't brute force every problem anymore in your 30s. You got to get creative. You got to solve things a little bit differently. And The reality is that those two guys, because Jokic can't do everything. He can't get 20 rebounds a game and put up 35 points and get 10 assists and be good defensively and be the secondary ball handler at 31. That's not realistic. You know, Jamal's doing everything he can just to be as productive as he can be. I don't think he has more capacity either. And so you need guys who are going to fill in those gaps. And one of the biggest gaps that Denver has right now is just physicality, physical tools, and the mental emotional wherewithal to be consistently applying them with assertiveness. And so, on top of the fact that even though the IQ, quote unquote, is there, you can say that Christian and Aaron and Cam, they know what they're doing. They're not spacing the floor well enough for any of that to also have an impact. That's not like Jokic and Murray have all this space to work with. That's just not true. And so I kind of get to, let's talk about David Adelman. I think he's doing okay given the circumstances of what he has to work with. I'm not particularly impressed. I do think there's a lot talking about strategy going into Game 5, some things I'm really wanting to see. Can we get Jokic the ball in positions to attack the Wolves that are better than just getting him the ball in the post against Rudy Gobert? This is smashing your head against a brick wall. And I get that Jokic is supposed to be the best player in the world. At the same time, you attack players where they're weak. I think Denver would be more. You can still attack the Wolves, but Denver's had a lot of success, I think, when they've inverted the pick and roll and Murray's the screener, because that puts Gobert not in help side but on ball, and it makes it a little bit tougher for him. Or if they can get Jokic on the move in certain ways as a movement player, not just posting him up, you can get Rudy off balance. You can maybe force some switches, these kinds of things. That's what I'm looking for from David Adelman tonight. The interview stuff and what he's saying on the podium and all that stuff, he's a rookie coach trying to figure it out, who hasn't been here before. I mean, he's been here before as a, how do I put this, an assistant, but he's so new to this, and obviously he just isn't the charismatic figurehead that Michael Malone was. I don't think Michael Malone would fix this, because we should keep in mind, let's not do the grass is greener on the other side thing. This team also quit on Michael Malone last season. We have all the same problems last season. We had the same problems with the same other teams. It's not like Michael Malone is going to change any of the things I said about this roster and the construction and how that works and how that's functioning, because he would not. He might do it more charismatically. He might find the right person to scapegoat to keep his job. I think he was really good at that. He's a politician, with all due respect, in the way that David Adelman is not being. There's a real sense of, when you listen to David speak, that he's not doing it with the same level of charisma, of managing the narrative and all that stuff. So that's an issue for him, in that it's probably going to make it harder for him to keep his job. Just keeping it about, to a degree, being a head coach is being a politician. It is about charisma. It is about, can you control the narrative to keep support on your side and against your critics, right? So I actually think when you're talking about, you look down the bench, they're doing all right. I think Bruce has had a really good series. Tim is doing about what I expect of him. He can make shots, And I think if you put him in a position where all he needs to worry about is shooting. You get on the floor, you find open shots, you shoot them. That's good. However, the Wolves have put him in a position where they recognize that as well. They're putting him in a position where he has to do literally anything else. And if you ask 34-year-old Tim Hardaway Jr. to do anything else, you're putting him in a position to do things that aren't going to be optimal for him. Trying to put the ball on the floor and drive and create, trying to play defense, trying to rebound, all that stuff. It's just not going to be his forte. That's not his role. As much as he's had a great year, but I don't exactly blame him for how much he's struggling, based on like who else is going to shoot off the bench. Keep it above, even among the role players as a whole. Like nobody's really scaring the Timberwolves. So ahead of this game, you got to make some shots. You got to work with what you have. You're in an advantageous position if you're the Denver Nuggets because obviously Anthony Edwards is out and Dante DiVincenzo is out. You have the perfect opportunity. You're at home. They've spat in your face multiple times. So we got to move. So this is a great opportunity to get some of that egg off our face, off their face, whatever you want to call it. And that's it for the most part. I mean, again, we can talk more about systemic roster construction issues and how much I think the Michael Porter trade was dumb because, like, what did you get? I guess that's what I'm going to finish with. What did you get out of that deal? You traded your best draft asset along with Michael Porter to get a worse player. Say what you want about, his defense is so good. Are the Nuggets good defensively? Is he stopping anybody? His rotations are way better. I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, Denver has a bunch of guys who can know how to do what they need to do. They know how to make rotations. They know where to be. That's not their problem. The Wolves are just saying, I'm just going to go at you. It doesn't matter who you are. And that's not an IQ thing. That's an ability thing. That's a physicality thing. You're not impressive. Nobody's worried about you defensively. And that's, I think, Denver's biggest issue right now. What did you get? You got, so you got money. That's cool. You got cap space and you spend it on, with the caveat that, let's keep it a buck. Tim, Bruce, we did bring them in. They're minimum contracts. Those are guys you would have been able to sign no matter what the cap circumstance was. As long as you have a role for them, that's usually what they're looking for at that age and that situation. You can spend a little bit more money on backup center. You got Jonas Valanciunas, who is not playing, not a useful player in the playoffs. After all this consternation about, backup center this, backup center that, now we got a backup center. We're the deepest team we've ever been, and this is the best, depth we've had in the era, and the non-Jokic minutes were okay, cool. But in the process, you sacrificed having one of the best starting fives in the league. And it's such a step backwards for the team. And I just can't describe how embarrassing it is to have it have gone down this way. I get everyone hated Calvin Booth, but to, on the heels of that whole conflict, come in and say, you have to make this trade now, and to make one of the dumbest trades I've ever seen. What else can it be but embarrassing? What else can any of this be but embarrassing? To finish off with, like, you've got to have more fortitude than this. So, anyway, coming up on 20 minutes, I mean, I hope, if anyone can bounce back, I think it is Jokic. But even then, I still think they need some real approach changes. Even if Jokic is playing well, that's not going to solve their real systemic problems in the matchup. Thanks for listening. I'll catch y'all later. Go Nuggets, and hopefully I can talk to you later about a game 6.